What's up, everybody? If you are like me and you are looking into a medical device for hair regrowth, I am going to be giving you a review and testimonial and walkthrough of one of my favorite devices that I use. And if you believe it or not, about a year ago, I was a bald man. Kidding, I wasn't bald, but during medical school, I did start to seriously thin. The front of my head, the hair density decreased by about 50%, and I was freaking terrified. I became a hair loss expert very fast. I experimented with all of the serums, all of the prescription medications, all of the devices, and in my journey, I came across one product that really stood out to me. And I will disclose that I did form a partnership with this company on the basis of I freaking love their helmet, and we've got discussing. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite medical devices for hair loss, actually my favorite medical device for hair loss in the world, which is the iRestore laser helmet. I'm going to be talking about this compared to other products, and I have used other laser helmets on the market, so I'm going to be showing you why this one is so cool, why it's so effective, so that you can make a decision on whether it's worth the investment for you or not, because it is a bit of an investment, but to be fair, a one-time investment, and if you care about not being bald the rest of your life, one of the best investments that you can make. All right, so let's talk about red light therapy for hair loss just for a second here, and then I'll actually go into the product. Red light for skin in general has been known to decrease inflammation. Inflammation, as you know, is the cause of all things bad in skin: pimples, hair loss, all kinds of stuff. Obviously, with hair loss, there's a genetic and a hormonal component as well. But red light decreases inflammation, and it stimulates the hair follicles to actually produce more hair. It stimulates the production, elastin, of collagen, of all kinds of the good stuff that are used to build hair, the building blocks. Now, red light therapy has emerged over the past decade or so and has been highly researched and has been found to be fairly effective and fairly safe. In fact, this device I'm going to be talking about, the iRestore, is actually an FDA cleared device, which means that it's relatively safe and efficacious. Now, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of this bad boy right here, because this honestly is the Rolls Royce of red light therapy helmets. It is clinical grade. You can get honestly the same treatment at a doctor's office, but this you're doing at home and you're just paying one time. Now, before we get into the pros and cons, I'd like to introduce myself if you're new to the channel. My name is Jay Feldman. I'm an osteopathic physician, and I'm extremely interested in regenerative medicine, especially as it pertains to hair care, testosterone, and performance optimization. So if you are interested in those things, you need to be subscribed. Another thing you might want to know about me is I love medical devices. I am a huge nerd about them. If you saw my room, you would be disgusted at the amount of medical device litter all over the place. A lot of this stuff I use pretty consistently as well. So I have experimented with a lot of things. I do have a lot of experience in this field. So let's talk a little bit about the iRestore helmet and how it chops up to its competitors. The first big negative that I want to start off with when discussing this helmet is the price. It does come in at a price that is a little bit more than a lot of its closest competitors, but for a good reason, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Now, the price point on this bad boy before discounts is $1,200 currently. So this is a little bit more than its closest competitors, but there's a good reason for it. Other than the price, I will say that the biggest issue with this helmet is the treatment time is almost 30 minutes per treatment, which can be a lot. It can get hot, it can get a little heavy, but in my point of view, if you are going to take the steps necessary to get a helmet like this, whether it's this one or a different one, you want one that's actually going to do its job. That is the most important thing, hands down, no questions asked. So if you're gonna save a few $100 or go with a helmet that lets you do shorter treatment times, you might just be wasting your time. I say go all in, get the Rolls Royce of red light therapy helmets, which is this iRestore, and that way at least you know if it's not working, you did the most that you possibly could. You got a helmet that's actually giving you a clinical dose and doing its job. All right, let's talk about some of the pros of this helmet compared to some of its competitors. And to do that, I want to show you the inside. Look at all of those lights and lasers that are going on. So most of the competitors for the iRestore are either going to use just LED or just lasers. Now this one has over 280 individual lasers as well as LED. So you're getting a max clinical dose of light to actually stimulate the hair follicles and do its job. Now with that, it gets a little bit hot, admittedly, and it gets a little bit heavy because there's a lot of hardware in here. But you're actually getting a true clinical dose of red light that's going to make a big difference. So other benefits of this helmet when compared to its competitors, and this one I think is hands down the most important one that you need to focus on. This one has actually been FDA cleared, which means quite a bit of research has gone on into this helmet to prove that it's actually safe, efficacious for hair loss. Many of the competitors have not done nearly the amount of research that the iRestore has, so you don't know that they're actually working. They might just be hitting you with red light and being a charlatan and saying it's the same thing when actually it's not, because you're not getting a real clinical dose and it might not work. So So this one has FDA clearance, and that is really important to know. All right, so within the iRestore box, the other things that you get I think are really powerful as well. I really enjoy the battery pack. So it's got an external battery pack that you can charge. It's fairly powerful. It lasts multiple uses. And this way you don't have to charge the helmet each time. You can keep the helmet in one spot, charge the battery in another spot. It's a really high quality battery, lasts quite a long time. Now, the other thing that I like about the helmet is the treatment time. So a lot of the other helmets that are shorter treatment durations, maybe 10 minutes, you have to do it every single day. The iRestore is about 25-minute treatment durations, and it's every other day. So I found that to be really helpful. And I also found that if you want to increase your dose, you can do this every day and likely get a slightly better result. Possibly. Now, it wasn't studied at those doses, but this is just my experimenting on myself and conversations with you. Again, none of this is medical advice. This is just YouTuber talking to a person who wants to keep their hair, just like myself. Now, one other really cool thing about iRestore is I use this device in conjunction with other treatments. I use a product called Minoxidil Max. It's a combination of topical minoxidil and topical finasteride. And I believe that the helmet works in synergy with that product, helping it reach its top efficacy by stimulating the follicles with that red light and helping the medication circulate throughout the scalp. Now, if you don't want to use my recommended serum, iRestore also has their own serum that you can apply and get that synergistic effect with the helmet. But I do recommend using the helmet in synergy, in combination with a topical treatment, at least minoxidil. If you can, minoxidil and topical finasteride. I hate oral finasteride. I think the side effects in men of erectile dysfunction are massively underreported. So if you can pick up a topical finasteride, definitely do that. I'll link my recommended one down here in the show notes as well. All right, but let's get right back into the review of the iRestore helmet. The cons, obviously the price can be prohibitory, but again, I think it is the best investment that you can make. If you don't want to live the rest of your life bald, you should absolutely pick one of these devices up. The sooner that you can stop hair loss, the easier it's going to be to not go bald. If you are already bald and you're trying to regrow hair with this device, you're going to have a very hard time. And you're probably not going to be as happy with the results. And you're probably not going to be nearly as happy as if you had just started losing your hair and you're just using this to stop the loss and get back to where you were, a month, 3 months, 6 months ago. Now, like I said, I do have a partnership with iRestore. I formed this partnership because this is a device I truly believe in, and I wanted to benefit from telling my friends and family about it, so they gave me a coupon code that you can use to save $400 on this device. This brings the price all the way down to less than $800. For you to have one of these helmets for life in your house, you can use it all the time. I like to use this when I'm on my pulse electromagnetic frequency mat at night. Spend about 30 minutes doing both of those things. You can use this when you watch TV, play video games, whatever it is that you want to do. Having this device in your home is better than going to any doctor's office to do the same treatment, because it's freely accessible. You only have to pay once, and it's one of the best clinical devices that I've used for hair loss. So definitely pick one of these up. Again, the coupon code is Dr. J. It's going to be linked down in the notes there. And believe me, you're going to want one of these devices at home, especially if you're starting your hair loss journey and you want to maximize the effectiveness of your treatments. You need one of these helmets. So pick up an iRestore. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'd love to hear your thoughts after you've purchased this device. So go ahead and pick one up and then leave it in the comments. Let me know how it's going for you, and I will respond personally, I promise. Thank you for watching. Pick up an iRestore. If you're interested in learning about some of the other treatments, modalities, and information that I have on hair loss, please watch the videos linked around me here. And thank you. I'll see you in the next one.